Imagine standing in front of a mirror wearing a gown that doesn't belong to you, pretending to be someone you're not just to make a stranger's ex jealous. Sounds insane, right? But that's exactly what happened to me, and what started as a fake date for a millionaire CEO's ex's wedding turned into the most heartbreaking and unforgettable story of my life. It began on an ordinary Tuesday, the kind where nothing exciting ever happens. My name's Alina, and at the time, I was a broke part-time barista in downtown Karachi, barely scraping through rent and holding on to dreams that felt too big for my pocket. Life was simple but heavy, full of bills, exhaustion, and the quiet ache of wanting more. Then one moment changed everything. A man walked into the cafe, tall, cold, too perfect to belong in the real world. The kind of man who looks like he belongs in glossy magazines, not in front of a flickering espresso machine. He ordered black coffee, no sugar, no smile. He looked distracted, maybe even lost. I remember teasing him that only people with heartbreaks drink their coffee bitter. He didn't laugh. He just looked at me, really looked at me, like I'd just said something no one else ever dared to. 3 days later, that same man, Adrian showed up again. Only this time, he wasn't there for coffee. He offered me a job. A ridiculous, unbelievable job: pretend to be his girlfriend and accompany him to his ex-fiancee's wedding. He said he'd pay me more than I made in a year. I thought it was a prank. But he was serious. His voice was steady, his eyes dark and unreadable. "I just need someone who won't fall in love with me," he said, as if love was a virus to avoid. Someone ordinary. And maybe that's why I said yes. Because I was ordinary, invisible even. And for once, someone had chosen me, even for a lie. The next few days felt like stepping into a dream I didn't belong to. Adrian's world was gold-tinted, luxury cars, tailored suits, and penthouses overlooking the city lights. He had everything money could buy, except peace. He was polite, distant, and completely broken inside. I could see it in the way he avoided mirrors, or how he flinched whenever someone mentioned his ex's name. Eliza. The wedding was at an oceanfront resort in Dubai, a place so beautiful it almost hurt to look at. Everyone there knew Adrian. They whispered when they saw me, the replacement. I smiled anyway, playing my part, holding his arm while pretending not to notice the tightness in his jaw every time Eliza walked by with her new husband that night. Under chandeliers and fake smiles, I saw the real Adrian for the first time. He wasn't angry. He was heartbroken, completely shattered. I caught him staring at Eliza when she wasn't looking, the way people look at something they've already lost forever. I wanted to say something comforting, but all I managed was a quiet, "You'll be okay." He looked at me, his eyes glassy under the dim light. "You don't know what it's like to lose everything." I didn't reply, but I did know. Just not in the way he did. Later that night, after the music faded and the crowd thinned, he found me sitting by the pool, barefoot and exhausted. For the first time, he smiled. Not the polite CEO smile, a real one. And just like that, something shifted. The fake lines blurred. For a moment, we weren't a billionaire and a barista. We were just two broken souls trying to find air in a room full of ghosts. Over the next few days, something unexpected happened. Adrian started opening up, small pieces at first. His childhood. His parents' divorce. The betrayal that ruined him. He told me how Eliza left him when his company crashed 2 years ago, only to marry his business rival when he rebuilt his empire, but he wasn't cruel. He was just tired, and I started to feel things I shouldn't. I reminded myself this was a job, that I was just a name on a paycheck. But every time he laughed, which he rarely did, or when he listened to me talk about my messy, ordinary life, I felt something I couldn't name. Then came the night that changed everything. It was the last day of the wedding, the grand reception. Eliza looked like a dream in her gown, and Adrian looked like he'd built an entire wall around his heart. When Eliza approached us and said, "I'm glad you found someone," I could feel the tremor in his hand as he held mine, but when she left, he whispered something that broke me: she was never the one. He looked at me, his eyes soft, his voice low. "You are." It was the kind of confession that doesn't need fancy words, raw, trembling, and real. I wanted to believe him, but I knew tomorrow would take it all away, and it did. The next morning, the fairy tale ended. Adrian left before sunrise. A note on the bedside table read, "Thank you for reminding me how to feel again." I went back to my small apartment, back to brewing coffee, pretending none of it happened. But how do you forget someone who made you feel seen for the first time in your life? Weeks later, a letter arrived at the cafe with no name, just my own written in his handwriting. Inside was a single sentence: if we ever meet again, I hope it's not for pretending. That was a year ago. I still make his coffee every morning, black, no sugar, not because I like it, but because it reminds me of him. Sometimes life gives you people you can't keep, but they still leave you better than they found you, and maybe that's the cruel beauty of love. It doesn't always stay, but it always changes you, because sometimes, the most heartbreaking stories are the ones that never had an ending, just two souls meeting at the wrong time, teaching each other how to feel again before walking away.